All right, welcome into Mississippi State Live here at the Voice of College Football. Andrew Miller, Thursday night. It is our call-in show. Tonight is an opportunity for you guys to come be a part of the action, get involved in the stream, give us your thoughts on the Bulldogs, give us your thoughts on the news that we have going on right now for Mississippi State football. So if you do want to join the stream, we got a link down in the description to the video. We also have a link pinned to the top of the live chat. Just click the StreamYard link, keep the camera turned off, but we'll bring you up on stage and we'll have a chat. We'll be able to talk a little bit about this massive news for Mississippi State with a certain offensive line prospect in the portal taking a visit to Starkville as we speak right now. Like, this could not have happened at a better time, that we have this happening like right before I'm about to go live. So yeah, great opportunity for you guys to come in and chat. It'll be a whole lot of fun. But we have a couple other things to talk about in the show. We do have a commitment from Miles McVay, another offensive line prospect out of the portal from North Carolina. Did also just find out that another offensive lineman, Zach Owens, hitting the portal. So one of Mississippi State's returners is going off elsewhere. And we'll close out the show. We'll give final grades for the 2025 season. If you tuned in to SEC Live at the Voice of College Football, which you absolutely should to keep up with all the latest SEC news, we did a long segment doing our final grades for every team for the 2025 season in the SEC. So, briefly talked about Mississippi State there, but we'll dive deep into Mississippi State. How do we grade the offense, defense, special teams, season as a whole, coaching, whatever. We'll get into all that. Just a fun thing to get in tonight. But obviously, we have to hit the big news, and we'll get there just in a sec. But for those of you tuning in, if you could leave us a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are not already, have those notifications turned on so you do know when we do go live, because under normal circumstances, if I didn't have a live show going on right now, this would have been a perfect opportunity to bust in for a live show that we hadn't had planned, instant reaction type stuff. So that's why you want to have the notifications turned on so you know when we come in for this type of stuff. But obviously a lot of great portal content on the channel that you're going to want to keep up with. And hey, let's get those subscribers up. Tell all your Bulldog fans, friends and family that you know, let them know about the channel. We're up over 130 subscribers. I love it. Want to keep this thing growing and moving along. And a lot of great fun action coming your way. But again, it is the call-in show. We have the opportunity you have the opportunity to come be a part of it if you'd like to. Let's get into it. So we get the news from Pete Thamel. Jordan Seaton is taking a visit to Mississippi State. The number 4 overall player in the transfer portal, a 98 overall 5-star prospect as a transfer, the top-rated offensive lineman in the transfer portal. He's in Starkville. And we talked about Seaton the other night when we went live on Tuesday evening and talked about Mississippi State rebuilding the offensive line room. And I hit on Seaton, but I also kind of was pretty adamant that I don't see it happening. Will asking, is this the guy from Colorado? Yes. Starting left tackle the last 2 years as a true freshman and a sophomore for the Colorado Buffaloes. Very good player. We talked about the possibility, and the reason it's a possibility for those who haven't put the obvious connection together. Phil Lodeholt, Mississippi State's offensive line coach, was Seaton's O-line coach back as a true freshman in 2024. So there is that connection there. And obviously when Seaton hit the portal, I can't just say Mississippi State fans, every fan base in the country wanted Jordan Seaton, still wants Jordan Seaton. He's not committed at this point. Everybody wants him. Everybody's like, find a way, make it happen. But for State, you had a connection that a lot of these other schools don't have. You have a coach on staff who coached this player in his true freshman season for the Colorado Buffaloes. Could that connection be of benefit to Mississippi State? And look, at the time, I think a lot of us, including, if you're a negative Debbie Downer like myself, no, right? You didn't think there was any sort of a chance that was going to happen and that this was going to be something that played a role. Because you're talking about a guy that is quite literally going to be one of the most coveted portal prospects we have ever seen. In fact, he might be the most coveted portal prospect. Yes, I hit on this Tuesday night. When you consider the talent level, the position, and then what the demand versus typical supply is, offensive tackle is a premium position. Like, having a guy that is a stud left tackle is something, it's huge and a big benefit to your team. And Everybody wants to have that. You want to have that guy at left tackle. You want that dude there that you feel confident in being able to protect. And if you've got a big-time guy at tackle, really the rest of your offensive line, just get some guys who are solid in there, who can play smart, play together. You're probably going to be pretty good up front, honestly, if you've got a dude at left tackle. So it's a super high premium position. And you're talking about Jordan Seaton being an elite player at that position. So naturally, that already makes him a coveted player. He would already be high on the board in terms of the ability, teams wanting to go after him. The thing is, you never get offensive linemen like this in the transfer portal. When you look at transfer offensive linemen, the top-end guys are either young players who were either coming off their freshman or redshirt freshman season that were blue-chip players coming out of high school who haven't really done anything yet but still have that high talent ceiling, or guys who have been starters for a few years, been good, solid players. They're a competent starter. Those are your top-end portal prospects at offensive line in the transfer portal. You don't have elite offensive line talents hit the portal. And the reason is because any school that has any money at all makes sure they do not let those guys leave. Because O-line is one of those spots where, like, overall, I think experience is the biggest thing. And I'll probably talk about that more as we get into some of the state and the O-line recruiting and where they're at. Like, having reps, having continuity, having been in a system for multiple years, all of that matters a ton. If you have guys who have that but also high-level talent, you've got something really special. When schools get a dude in at offensive line, they don't let them go because there's a lot of development that has to happen at offensive line. That's the key part of it. That is still a developmental position. Yes, a guy like a Jordan Seaton, who's that level talent, can step in as a true freshman and be very good right away. But most guys, even high-level players, need some development. I was thinking about Charles Cross today, who's the highest-paid offensive lineman in the NFL, Mississippi State. Shout out to them. He redshirted as a true freshman, as a five-star prospect. And as a redshirt freshman in 2020, he was State's best offensive lineman that year on a bad offensive line, but he wasn't a dominant force out there. He took his lumps. Then in 2021, he was dominant. It finally blossomed, broke through. It's a position that takes time, takes development, which is why you don't like building in the portal, because those are guys who are coming in who haven't done it with you before, haven't been with your guys. And if you can have offensive linemen in your program, that's huge. So it does not lend itself to being a spot you can just go get guys on the portal. We've talked about this a lot as I've talked about Mississippi State and their quest to rebuild the offensive line. It is so difficult to do in the transfer portal. Which is why when you talk about a guy like Jordan Seaton hitting the portal, that is a truly elite talent. Again, these guys don't leave because schools pay them. If a guy like that hits the portal, it's a once in a million, once in a lifetime type chance of you being able to go after him. So every team in the country is going to be super interested. And it, again, is still super interested in going against Jordan Seaton. And sure, Mississippi State, you have the Phil Lodeholt connection. Like, how big of a role can that play? And we know Mississippi State has money. It has been established. State has money. It's just a matter of getting guys wanting to consider coming to Mississippi State. And would you expect Mississippi State to be paying more than Texas, who picked up a tackle commitment today? I wonder if they knew Jordan Seaton was coming to Mississippi State as a visit. Oregon and what they have available to them. A team like Miami, who has a great track record for offensive line development between Mario Cristobal and then Alex Mirabal, their O-line coach. And obviously they have plenty of money. And they're going to put guys in the NFL this year. You have all these other programs that need offensive line, need offensive tackle, that are bigger brands, national contenders, probably have more overall in terms of their spending ability. It just felt like it's such a long shot for Mississippi State to even get this guy to consider you at all. The odds just felt slim on that. Well, Mississippi State made it happen. Like, that connection clearly mattered, Phil Lodeholt. But I also think that tells you the money's there. And State has got their money up. And if there's anything I'm taking away from this, because I'm going to be honest, like, am I going to project Mississippi State to land Jordan Seaton right now? I'm not. I'm not saying this is a courtesy visit, but I still think your odds are slim to beat the other offers that are going to be out there. And Will saying, I hope this doesn't turn into a bidding war. It's going to be a bidding war. I'm telling you, like a guy like this, it's a bidding war. And look, if you're Mississippi State, I'd go as high as you possibly can. Believe me. Even I know there's a couple other spots they're interested in, but this overrides anything else. The odds are still slim. Like beating out those other schools are going to be very difficult to do. Maybe we look up at the end and like, yeah, he took a visit to Mississippi State. I guess this you would call it a courtesy visit. He was doing a favor to his old line coach. But he wouldn't be here if the money wasn't legit. If Mississippi State didn't have the money to make it possible. He wouldn't give him the time of day. And by the way, what type of money are we talking about? The bidding started with Jordan Seaton. This was reported a couple days ago right after he hit the portal. $2.5 million a year. I think it's going to get up to 3, 4, maybe more. Now, it would be interesting at Mississippi State because they're a program with a coach who's making less than $5 million a year. So I don't know if you're talking about a situation of Mississippi State being comfortable getting up into that type of a range. Not just in terms of do we want to commit that to one player, but it's like, oh, this isn't the NFL. Are we going to pay more to one player than we pay to our coach? I don't know about that. But I guarantee you Mississippi State's going north of $3 million in what they're willing to offer to Jordan Seaton to come play to Mississippi State. I have to believe that's the case. And that is a huge sign of where this program is at, that it is even a possibility. We have a lot of concerns on the field from a developmental standpoint, from a game management standpoint, coaching as a whole. There's been a lot of questions. There's been questions about being able to get players in general because while overall the portal class has been good, you've seen State miss at several spots because guys just don't seem super interested in coming to Starkville. At least a lot of the top-end guys. They've done a good job overall with this portal class. But the biggest sign that the infrastructure is in place for success is that Jordan Seaton is even willing to come on a visit. Because, again, the load Holt connection's nice. That doesn't happen unless you've got the money to make it worthwhile for him. So that gives you confidence moving forward, regardless of the coaching staff, regardless of situation. Mississippi State, this ain't broke boys. This ain't a case of you got to get your money up. No, they've done that. They're going to spend in a way that is necessary if they're going to compete and to build a program that can compete. That's what they have. That's what they have going for them right now. And that's a great place to be. Again, if the results don't come, well, then a lot of this is going to, just kind of be looked past. But you've set yourself up to be really successful if you can get get to the finish line. If you can get the guys on campus, then obviously if you can coach them up and win the games. But you have no chance of winning the games unless you have this infrastructure in place, including the Mississippi State does. And again, that is something to be very excited about. But look, as for Jordan Seaton, if you get him, I mean, he is your starting left tackle. It's going to be one and done. He will be off to the NFL next year. It will have been worth it because of the type of talent that he is. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend I've watched a lot of Jordan Seaton. I think I said this the other night, and I'll be honest, I didn't take time to watch a lot of Jordan Seaton because I just assumed it wasn't going to happen. Reading up, I mean, it sounds like he's a better pass blocker than he is a run blocker. Okay, I'll take that at left tackle. I don't care. Fine by me. What was Mississippi State's biggest issue with pass protection? They didn't run block all that well either. I don't know. I'll trust Kamario Taylor, Fluff Bothwell. They'll be able to get the run game going. I'd rather not give up 50 sacks. And if you can protect the blind side, that's going to help out a whole lot. And the thing about if Jordan Seaton does come to Mississippi State, like what does that become as a selling point for other players? Because if Jordan Seaton's willing to come, I feel like other elite players start to look and say, all right, well, clearly they got money. Forget the whole building a culture, building a program for results on the field, any of that stuff. If you get Jordan Seaton to come to Mississippi State, like it's the day of the dollar in college football. And that speaks volumes to a lot of these guys who are looking to get the payday. And I know there's fans who hate that. I know there's people around Mississippi State who hate that. I'm not saying I love that's the way it is. I wish guys cared about the schools more and had that deep connection and wouldn't be willing to transfer from one rival to the next and all that kind of stuff. But it's the era we're living in, man. It's about the dollar, and Mississippi State is showing we got the dollar. Come be a part of the program. And again, if you get this guy in, you're set offensively. I would feel confident that the offensive line would take a massive step forward. And then you talk about Camario at quarterback. You talk about the skill talent you have with the receivers you've brought in, the Fluff Bothwell and the other backs that you have. Tight end is interesting, but I think you'll figure that out. You'll be fine. If Jordan Seaton signs with Mississippi State is going to be a fantastic offensive team in 2026. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Again, I'm not ready to say that you're getting him, but that is a huge power move by Mississippi State to even get him on campus. So hats off to Jeff Lebby, hats off to Phil Lodeholt, two guys that have taken a lot of criticism. I've given criticism plenty. They're doing a good job just to get this guy on campus, see if you can seal the deal. If you can make it happen, man, that's really something big. But outstanding job by the coaching staff to get Jordan Seaton to campus, and we'll see where it goes. And hopefully a couple days from now, we're talking about him as a Bulldog. That'd be a whole lot of fun. Again, this is a call-in show, so for those of you tuning in, if you just want to stay in the chat, as I spin on my camera, that's great. And just chat there, that's fine. If you guys just want to watch them, I don't care. I'll get rolling. It's fine by me, but did want to give you the opportunity if you want to call in. Again, link in the description of the video. Also have the link pinned at the top of the live chat. Click the StreamYard link. If the camera turned off, we'll bring you on stage, and we'll have a good chat. We'll talk about the Bulldogs, we'll talk about Jordan Seaton, or we could talk about some of the other portal news from Mississippi State. They get a commitment from Miles McVay, an offensive tackle prospect from North Carolina. 350-pounder. Big old dude. I think we get the official height there on him. If I can find it real quick. Yeah, 6'6", 350. Started his career at Alabama, was a 92 overall four-star coming out, and was highly recruited. Again, you go to Alabama, every school in the country wants you to come. That's just how that goes. Spent a couple years with the Tide. I think saw action in about 12 games through 2 years there. Transferred to UNC this year to join Bill Belichick in that program. And by the end of the year, started to find a role. Was not a starter. I don't believe made a start this season, but was playing extensive snaps down the stretch, including like their final game of the season against NC State was his most extensive action. I think made 47 snaps at left tackle or one of the tackle spots. So a guy that has gotten some playing time, a guy that has gotten some experience, a guy with a high talent ceiling, as a transfer prospect, 86 overall transfer, 3-star, but someone that has got some playing time, someone that still has a high talent ceiling. And from reading from the North Carolina side, felt like he was a promising player and performed decently well for them. I think he was their 4th highest rated offensive lineman overall for the season. And someone that they thought could be, compete for a starting role next season and be one of the top guys that they have there in that room. Comes to Mississippi State now, back in the SEC. Had been trending this way for a few days. His name had been up for a while that this was going to be a possibility. And then I think as of yesterday, State's insiders were pretty confident that was going to happen. And then he makes it official, signing with Mississippi State today. At 350, maybe could be a guy that moves inside, which I do think that's interesting. You get the news that Zach Owens, right before we went live, hit the portal. Sven, hail state to you. You wonder what that's tied to. I thought Owens was fine. He had a really rough game in the bowl game, for sure. Overall for the season, I don't think it was a terrible year for him. I would have been fine seeing him come back another year and seeing how that went. But I also think he probably got recruited over a little bit. I think if you get Cannon Boone coming back, and I talked about this with him at center, then I think DJ Chester is going to be one of your guards. I know there's some belief in LJ Perdome being a guy that could step in and compete for a starting job right away. So, that's not a guarantee you were going to have Zach Owens be one of your top guys at offensive line. Sven, I see you there. We'll bring you in here just in a couple minutes when we get done talking about McVay and that commitment. So you're kind of shuffling things around, but going back to McVay with Owen stepping out, I think they could move inside to guard. I think he did play guard some for North Carolina, even though he's primarily tackle. Obviously, he could compete for a tackle job. I don't know if he's coming in to start. I think he's a guy that you have as an option. That having a guy that's a depth piece that has playing time at the power conference level, that's a good thing to have. He's definitely not State's solution right now. In fact, it is very clear with Jordan Seaton on campus. They want another left tackle, and there could be some other options there at left tackle that they go after. But a good addition. Again, a power conference quality player, has playing experience, someone that could compete for a starting job, a good piece to step in to the room. And again, if we're comparing to Zach Owens, who just hit the portal, I mean, you're talking about a guy that is frankly was probably more high profile coming out of high school, and then also has sort of had a similar career arc, but has more playing time coming to Mississippi State than Zach Owens did. So I think you'll take that. It's a good addition with Miles McVay. Got to continue rounding out that room, though. We'll see what happens. Sven.
Good morning.
Oh, yeah, it is morning for you, is it not?
Yeah, it's 2:23. I told Ballard you don't do the call-in shows at 3 or 4 in the morning. That's ridiculous for me. Okay, Andrew. Offensive line, I'm okay with what Levy did. Defensive line, there is a lot of work to do. I mean, I don't see one guy from what I saw, but I'm not an expert. I'm a German with a cowbell who can stop the run. If we can't stop the run, we are cooked. Everybody knows that. I mean, Arnett is a way more experienced defensive coordinator as Hutzler was. I mean, we can agree on that. Is Arnett a world beater? No. Is he good? Yes. He did his job under Leach, what he's supposed to do. And I think we will see massive changes in 2027 when Arnett comes in, has time, recruits his guys, and I see us 6-6, maybe with a little bit of luck and prayers. Camario don't get down, and the offensive line can hold a little bit, and Fluff can go to work. 7-5. That's our ceiling. I don't see us winning 8 games. There is no way.
I think that's probably a fair prediction. As for the defense, I think your concerns with D-line are valid. I won't push back on that entirely because no doubt the guys you have running back clearly were not good enough for you last year. I think the biggest concerns were out on the edge. At your defensive end spots and your Jack linebacker spots in the old defense. It'll be Sam linebacker under Zach Arnett. Yeah. Those guys just were not consistent enough, and especially losing Will Whitson hurt that quite a bit. But when you talk about Deontay Anderson, Malik Silla got a lot of pressure but could never finish and get home, and I don't know if he did much against the run. Brandon Jennings did not do much against the run. Trevion Williams is probably better suited playing inside. So you had a group of guys there that certainly were not giving you what you needed to. And I do think it's fair to question at the edge spots if you're in a good enough position now for sure, even with some of the transfers you have coming in. And
I mean, Evans is near a 4-star from the A&M guy.
Yeah, so he's going to be on the interior. So, I do think I think your interior line has a chance to be okay. I like the addition of D'Alen Evans. As a high ceiling type player there in the middle.
Yeah, and he got good coaches at A&M. He got coached hard by Elko. Elko is a really good head coach, and they coach their people well. I mean, what A&M is always missing is the quarterback.
That's fair.
But,
more so.
But so far, I'm happy, and what I'm most proud of is not a single of our key guys left Mississippi State, not a single one.
That was the most impressive thing they did for sure.
Yeah.
And there's I talked about that in the last show. We got a video up on the channel for anybody who hasn't seen it yet, talking about that. I've had criticisms of the portal class, but if there is something you have to give Jeff Lebby and Mississippi State a ton of credit for, is they held on to all of their best players. The guys that you would have gone into this offseason saying, we want them to come back because we expect them to be a cornerstone piece of the team in 2026. Guys that we think, hey, that's a starter for us. That's a key player for us. Every single one of them is returning.
Mario Taylor had a $4 million offer from LSU on the table, from what I heard.
Yeah, it's possible. 4 might be a little steep, but definitely, the other schools were interested in those guys. Like Ant Evans did have other schools interested. Isaac Smith had other schools interested. I'm sure, like I talked about with Kelly Jones. Sure, there's the selling the idea of, hey, come back for another year and you can be developed into a surefire first round pick. Like if you go this year, you're going to be drafted high, but you're probably not going to the first round. Come back another year, you're going to be a first round pick. Well, you could sell that to Kelly, but if you don't have a big time NIL rev share offer on the table, he could hit the portal and go elsewhere. So I guarantee Mississippi State had to have paid Kelly Jones a good amount to keep him around. So
on it had Boogie Watson, Jet Johnson, the best tackle tandem, the best linebacker tandem maybe in the last 10 years in the SEC. Maybe tandem as a duo,
right.
Not single. There are better guys, but as a tandem, these two guys were awesome. And I hope he finds 2 diamonds in the rough. And what I'm most excited is we got the 2 best running backs out of the state of Mississippi. One from Starkville High School, and the other is I think is he from West Point or from Tupelo?
So it's you got them both wrong, unfortunately. So J.J. Hill's from Tupelo, and then Cooper Crosby is from Gulfport. Down on the coast.
Gulfport. Yeah, I saw the game. That there was a high school game, and they played each other.
Yes.
It was absolutely electric.
Hail Mary win.
These guys can run, and I think we found 2 good ones. Our run game will be good, but can the O-line block for them? That's the question.
If they get Jordan Seaton, I think they're going to block pretty well. But no, for sure. I like the running back. Those freshman backs are guys that are going to have an opportunity. I still feel good with Fluff Bothwell. I think Xavier Gaden is talented. He's got to figure a few things out. You still have – I'm blanking on his name. He was the freshman, Colin – is it Colin Hill or something? I'm blanking on his name. He was a freshman from Gulf Shores High School who got involved in a couple games this year, but was a talented player coming out. So I think they're going to be fine at running back, and especially with the threat of the quarterback run game, that's going to help out a lot. But yeah, like the O-line's got to be figured out. But if they get that, I think they've done a really nice job overall with what you've seen. And going back to what you said with defensive line, if they could find one more guy like a premium edge rusher, I think that'd be huge.
Yeah.
But
for
the defense as a whole, I do think the linebacker talent's fantastic. They've reshaped the secondary as well. So even if those 2 spots, I know it all kind of stops and starts with D-line, but part of me is confident with better coaching and then the pieces you have in the middle and back end of the defense, they're going to get better kind of by default. But if they add in D-line, for sure, going to be a huge step.
Last crazy point before I let you go.
Okay.
I woke up this morning and had an idea.
Let's hear it.
I saw last week a video from Ed Ogeron. He want to go back to coaching, and he said, "I don't care if it's D-line, head coach, whatever. Bring Ed Ogeron to Starkville." He is a top recruiter. There is absolutely no question about it, and the guy knows defensive line. His defensive lines over the years were absolutely crazy good. Pay the guy $2 million, $3 million, whatever he wants, and bring him in. I would do that. And it gives Mississippi State publicity. It brings people in the seats. Ed Ogeron back in football. What do you think? I mean, not as head coach, as defensive line coach.
I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I missed the name because I had a message come up I had to respond to. I heard everything else.
Okay.
It's a great look for me on stream.
Ed
I missed what you were
Ogeron.
talking about. I'm sorry.
Ed Ogeron.
Okay, Coach O.
Coach O. Defensive line coach. Top recruiter, top defensive line coordinator. I mean,
I don't know. So maybe here's the thing with Ed O. I don't know if he's really a dominant D-line coach as he is. It's just the recruiting side of it, which, look, that's the biggest thing. But you've also got to develop the players that you got on campus. If you want to have him on as a recruiting assistant, okay.
No. He should recruit his guys and develop them. And he did this for years and years before he went to head coach.
I know he's coached in the past. I do wonder if it's been a while for him, but
yeah,
I kind of feel like he in a recruiting role for sure. I could see it, but look, I mean, he would get talent. There's no doubt about that. Ty Warren, a D-line coach, going to be very interesting to see how that works out. Was an interesting hire that State made as a guy that has done it before now, just in a couple smaller stops in the state of Texas, but obviously was a high-level player, both in college and then the NFL for a long time. So I think, he's one of those type of guys. You get the guys on campus and you hope that he has some tricks of the trade to coach him up, but we'll see how that works out.
Yeah. Okay, Andrew. Have a nice weekend. But last question. I have Indiana 35 and Miami 17. What's your pick?
Oh, I'll take Indiana. I'm going to give Miami a little bit more credit, which I don't blame anybody for taking Indiana big. I'll say 27-20 is what I'll go with.
I think it's close until halftime. Indiana leads at halftime 17-10 or something like that. Miami makes a mistake in the third quarter, and Indiana scores 3 touchdowns of it, and it's over, or 2 touchdowns, and it's over. We will see.
Could certainly happen.
I was wrong before, so you can cut me out. Have a nice day. I'll be in the chat.
All right, thanks for tuning in. Always appreciate it. Have a good one.
It's late.
I hear you. All right, let me go. All right. And I got to get this back. It's StreamYard X weird sometimes. All right. So we had a comment here from Tony. Levy and Loadholt flew to Houston Tuesday morning to visit with Seaton. It looks like that paid off, but could we compete with the big boys in the NIL game? That'll be very interesting to see. Again, look, credit to Levy and Loadholt for being willing to do something like that, make that type of a move. It does speak to their willingness to fix this thing and turn it around. For sure. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I'm glad they were able to get Seaton on campus. That is I don't want to say half the battle. It's like a quarter of the battle, if that. But getting that far says a lot. So I absolutely, Jordan Seaton is in Starkville for sure. That's what we opened up the show talking about. Huge that they were able to even get him on campus. And you'll see if that pays off and they're able to get a guy that you can really lean on. Oliver commented on our national championship talk, Miami wins. Hate to say it. I'd be fine with I think Oliver is okay. I took Oliver's comments seriously for a second, and then I remembered he's a Purdue fan. So he's got to make sure we bump up Miami. I think I'd be cool with Miami win. I think it'd be a lot of fun if Miami got the title. I understand why it'd be fun if Indiana got it too. But I've always kind of liked Miami to an extent. Like, I don't cheer for them by any means, but I've always thought, Miami's a fun team to see winning, just objectively, in my eyes at least. Objective would not be the worst. It's subjective. I will now always hold a special place for Miami because of what they accomplished in the semifinal. So I will certainly be pulling for Miami in the national championship, but I think it's going to be tough for them to pull off with Indiana. All right, let's take a little bit of a break. We'll run a little, and then we'll be back later in the episode.
College football is even more exciting when you've got some action on the line, and the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread, and I've got a 40-plus year track record. 11-0 in the college football playoff for me last year against the money line, 8-3 against the spread. And I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill of Wager Talk is our ace in the hole, show stopper. 7 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly under-the-radar pick. 28-12 against the spread the last 3 years. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Corey Bratta, Matt Zemek, and Steve Dace. Check out those numbers. Become a YouTube or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and then select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2025 a winner now.
You heard Mark. Go become a winner. Go join in on What's College Football Bets. Definitely want to be a part of that. Sven here with a comment. Average grade of Indiana players is 2.97 stars. Oh, less. Okay, it was like a comma. I was confused there. Yeah, they have a lot of transfers. There's guys who've been in the program. A lot of guys that were coached up and developed by Signetti, that sort of his eye for talent was a big part of, and brought them in. Actually heard a really good listened to a good podcast yesterday. Split Zone Duo had like a subscriber episode breaking down if you're a school, because now everybody's going to be looking for their next Signetti and going into like what makes Signetti and how possible is it to make it happen. And for a lot of schools, frankly, it's good luck is what it sort of boils down to, but it was an interesting thing to listen to. He's a freaking good coach, and they've done a great job with player development, and that's why it's worked out for them big time. So they could definitely buck the trend of blue chip ratio, probably will buck that trend Monday night for the title game, which will be a big part of it. Signetti learned Notre Dame. Yeah. Had a few years there, which I mean, he was a pretty good coach prior to that, but definitely his time with Saban helped him quite a bit. And sort of his reputation has always been as like a high level recruiter. That was the thing that he did for a long time. And then it got to a whole other level once he started working with Saban, and in terms of what they looked for from player development, and the certain traits that they look for. So really, really successful coach. Mark Cuban gave Signetti some money, shopping money for 2026. Yeah, no, he did. But clearly, Mississippi State's big money donors, whoever they are, gave Mississippi State money for 2026 as well, because, again, you got Jordan Seaton on campus. And that's big, man. I'll keep harping on it. If you could find a freaking way to make it happen, that would be huge. It'd give you so much confidence going into next year. Look, if you're not going to get Seaton, where would you turn? I did think it'd be interesting. I started watching a potential name that interests me at Mississippi State as an option for offensive line. If I can find, Evan Malcor from Northern Illinois. This is like your backup to a backup plan. Bulldog Mississippi sub to you. 6'6", 305 for NIU. I've not gotten to watch a ton, but I was watching him against Mississippi State, which I know we just talked a lot about. Mississippi State's defensive ends kind of sucked. So how much does that really matter? But he was holding his own, man. He was really winning those battles consistently up front. I'm curious. I want to see him against Notre Dame to see how that played out. Like, if you can't get Seaton, and if another big name doesn't hit the portal that you go all in on, like, I'd be down to like, the guy's been a starter for 2.5 years. And I also trust NIU with O-line development. Thomas Hammock does a great job of that. Like, I think that would be a guy, where does State turn if they don't get Jordan Seaton? I think Malcor would be a name to look to. Other than that, don't know, because a lot of the names in the portal are committed. Like Seaton, it's kind of like you're going all in, right? The kid from Wake Forest hit the portal today. It would have been a great option for sure. But, he immediately goes, and he had the do not contact tag, which doesn't always mean we know where we're going, because technically, like, do not contact doesn't mean they know what school. It may just be that they want the agent to handle everything for him. That kid, clearly it was because he knew what school he was going to, because he immediately committed to Texas. One of our biggest donors is the guy that owns Southern Tire Mart. Forgot his name. Okay. I know we got Mossy Oak. That's are we going to get Mossy Oak uniforms this year. That's the big thing everybody will looking for. And can we just put a Mossy Oak logo on the field, and how much money can we get from that? That'd be great. But it sounds like we got the funding for Jordan Seaton as it is, so I'm okay with that. I'll give you guys the opportunity. If you want to come be a part of the show, do what Sven did. You can click the link in the description of the video, also pinned to the top of the chat. Just keep the camera turned off. We'll bring you on stage, and we'll chat about whatever. But did want to get into season grades for Mississippi State in 2025. So that's right, Mossy Oak over Realtree. Realtree is trash, and if you wear Realtree, I have mean things to say to you. Mossy Oak all day. Oliver. Mossy Oak will probably have baseball will probably have a Mossy Oak collab this year. I think it plays in baseball probably better than other sports. Just one, because it's a bunch of rednecks. Mississippi State baseball, it's a team full of rednecks, but also like baseball, they have so many games, so it's just like you get to wear random uniforms. And gone are the days of Adidas doing the things I think State did, like a St. Patrick's Day uniform one year. I know they've done the camo before. But Adidas had a run there, man, for Mississippi State baseball jerseys. Like I've thought a lot of the Adidas hate over the years was forced and really not like overblown. Like for football and basketball, I thought most of those uniforms were good, if not at least fine. Baseball, I agree. They did some. There was that stretch from like 2011 through 2015 where they just wore some of the stupidest stuff imaginable. But yeah, I think they figured it out. We'll see if you get Mossy Oak uniforms this year. All right, grading the Bulldogs for 2025. How did the season play out? And we'll go through these quick. We'll start with the Mississippi State offense. So let me get stats. I'm going to do this. I need to have stats up while we're going through this. That would make a lot more sense. So ended up averaging 30.4 points per game. That was about a 6-point improvement from a year ago. It was also the high mark in the past 3 years, since 31.6 in 2022. So it was the best in a few seasons. From a total offense standpoint, 399 yards per game was an improvement of 22 yards from the year before, which well above 2023. Also a little bit ahead of 2022. That 2022 offense kind of had some sputtering down the stretch in Leach's final year. From a passing game standpoint, you averaged about 240 yards a game, 20 passing touchdowns to 9 picks, 62% overall as a team. Pretty solid, 62.5. Run game, averaged 158 yards a game, 3.7 a carry, not great. Certainly not where you fully wanted to be. It was a weird year for the offense, if we're being totally honest, overall. They showed like so much great potential. Like you had a 1,000-yard receiver, and then you had another 800-yard receiver. You had a running back in Fluff Bothwell who was on pace to have a huge year early in the season before that really faded. O-line kind of regressed as the season went along. But, like, man, I don't know. I give the offense like a C, I think, for the season. They were too reliant on big plays. That's the big thing. They hit enough big plays that they could stay in games. They couldn't hit enough big plays to win games. Is really what it boiled down to. And the fact they couldn't run the football effectively over the course of the year was a concern. The passing game has always been a big play passing offense, but and you kind of saw that. Shapen not taking a step forward. It was an offense like technically they got a little bit better. They did just enough. They improved from the year before. You kind of like passed. I give the offense a C. It wasn't great. By the way, y'all can chime in if you have any thoughts on any of this. Noah, by this time tomorrow it'll be official. What? Are we talking about Mossy Oak baseball uniforms, or are we talking about something more exciting? I'd love to know what will be official by this time tomorrow. Mississippi State's defense is weird to judge. They give up 30 points per game, so that's still terrible, which, that was a 4-point improvement from the previous season. From a total defense standpoint, 2024, they gave up 456 yards. 2025, 409. So pretty significant improvement there. Yards per play, they basically gave up 6 yards per play this season. Gave up 6.3. So the defense got better. We all know this. Sacks on the season. In 2024, they had 10. They more than doubled their sack total this year with 21. Turnovers forced. They forced a total or gained a total of 18 turnovers this year compared to 12 last year. So that was an improvement. Well, what's more exciting than baseball uniforms? Nothing, obviously. They got better. We know this. They still, the way the season ended for them, it's like it was a D. Like, I can't give it a total F, like where 2024 was an F for the defense. Frankly, this is the way I put it. The offense got better just enough that you can be like, okay, we'll see how this goes. Defense got better, but not enough to feel good. So if we're doing a whole letter grade thing, like, if C is passing, and you got to get at least a C to pass, the offense barely passed. Always run, never pass. Defense did not pass. They got better, but it was still not good enough. Defense got a D. I think that's you would grade the defense as a D. Special teams, C. Kyle Ferry was good. That was like the one thing. Kyle Ferry went 10 for 12. Missed one extra point. That was last year. Sorry. 17 of 20. I knew he missed more than 2. He was perfect on extra points, though. And Kyle was still really good against 85% field goal. That's perfectly fine. He had like that 55-yarder early in the season. Perfect on extra points. Kyle Ferry had a perfectly good year for Mississippi State. State as a team was perfect on extra points. I didn't know Marlon Hawk kicked a couple. I missed that entirely. But from a kickoff standpoint, the fact that they had multiple kickoffs out of bounds, didn't have enough touchbacks. I mean, that's a concerning thing. Like you allowed some runbacks when there was no reason to. Just kick it out the back of the freaking end zone. Punting, Pulliam, once you leaned on him, was fine. And he averaged about 47 yards per punt. He had a decent season. Nate Tice, who I guess, shout out to him at Penn State now, did not have a great year. And the going back and forth between the two was a problem. The return game is where it's such a freaking disappointment. Punt return, I don't know Anthony Evans totaled 134, only 11 returns for Ant Evans the whole season. Brendan Thompson had 1 for 44. Was that in the bowl game? When was that? Yeah. You didn't let Brendan Thompson return a punt till the bowl game, and you finally get a 44-yard return. Like, that's insane. And then Ant Evans as a punt returner. Against Alcorn, he had some nice returns. That's right. That was the only game. He had a good return against Alcorn. Maybe he had a good one against Arizona State. But, you didn't get any returns. I know that a little bit is contingent on having guys back there, but you also sort of manufacture it. You didn't do anything in the kickoff return game. Did nothing. None of those guys averaged more than 16 yards on kickoff return. Ant had 1 for 16. Johnny had 1 for 13. And then Devon had 6 for 89. What was his game log on that? He didn't have a single long return the entire season. Yeah, State was terrible in the return game. That should have been a strength with the guys you had. Special teams was... I might change that to a D, I'll be honest. The only reason the special teams passed at all is because Kyle Ferry was good. Or not passed. The only reason special teams were semi-acceptable was Kyle Ferry. Everything else about special teams sucked. This feels like harsh grading for State overall. And the fact is, all our blowout L's came on the opponent's run game when you lost Arizona State because we stopped the run. I have to be able to stop the run. Secondary will take care of the passing game. Yeah, no, the run defense was terrible. It got worse and worse as the year went along. I do think some of that was the teams they faced. They ended up facing teams with really good offensive lines. They ended up facing teams that I talked about this getting into nitty-gritty. I think State was pretty good against spread run games. They were bad against pro run games. If your run game was built around spamming inside zone RPO, they were fine. If the run game, they weren't good, but they could slow it down. If your run game was built around like outside zone and more pro style downhill concepts and creating flow, they were pretty awful. Like if you were able to just mash them up front, run games built around space, they were fine. Run games built around physicality killed them. Who do we have as starting tight end for next season? Traore elected for the draft, right? Well, Traore's done. He's out of eligibility. Tight end is interesting. They got the kid, Riley Williams from Oregon State. 6'5", 273, was basically a 95 overall 4-star coming out of high school. Signed with Miami. Was a rotational player at tight end. Transferred to Oregon State this year. Only played in like 2 games. So I don't know if that was an injury, what the deal was there. Really talented. Still got a couple years of eligibility left for him, I believe. Don't know what he is as a blocker versus a passer. I haven't seen anything of him. But, I mean, it seems like a solid pickup at tight end. There could be some high potential there. Sam West, I thought in the limited opportunities he got was okay. I don't think he was anything special as a blocker. But as a receiver, I thought he actually showed some potential. Really interested to see Zayon Cotton. I think his talent profile is kind of going to be like that of – I'm not comparing him to Seydou Traore in terms of build, route running, any of that type of stuff, but purely in the standpoint that they are both receiving-based tight ends and guys who are probably better receivers than they are in anything else, sort of flex tight ends. I'm interested to see what his role could be. And he got to enroll early. He was a part of bowl practices, which kind of can make me think, okay, like he's gotten those extra reps. Could those extra reps have been something that Jeff Lebby and his staff looked at and said, okay, we got to go get a tight end because we need numbers in the room, but we don't have to go after a guy to play. Like someone that could step in and play a role. That'll be interesting to see because tight end I think it's a position that's going to make or break State. But you would like to be a little bit better there. Back to the grades. So, I mean, I don't know. I'll just give special teams a C just for whatever. I said D, C. Let's C minus. I don't know. Offense was like a C, C plus. Defense was a D. I mean, what, overall C for the season? Basically is what we're getting at for Mississippi State. I mean, it feels about right. Coaching was like a C. Like, I don't think Jeff Lebby coached all that well throughout the season. Like some of the game management decisions, the end of the Florida game was a disaster. Blowing a 17-point lead, which also his game management in that did not help. Kamario Taylor, managing Blake Shapen versus Kamario, and how you chose to handle that was not great. So Jeff Lebby didn't have the best year either. It's so weird when you talk about Mississippi State because the overall trajectory is clearly better. But the product of the field, if you watch the games, you know they should have been better. They should have won more games than they did. And I said this on SEC Voice College Football last night. This was the epitome of a C season for Mississippi State because, and I keep using like the actual school grade analogy of like C is passing, but it's like, man, you just kind of barely got by. Mississippi State barely did enough to feel not okay, but accepting of moving forward would be the way to put it. Like, if they had merely just gone slightly, like I guess a D would have been they were better, but they still were completely awful and like you can't move forward. F would have been 2-10 again. Going 5-8, being competitive in games, beating Arizona State, beating Arkansas, having opportunities in the games that you did, like that is a C season for State when you factor in, though, that they should have really won a couple of those games and how they handled a lot of things. It was not a fun year, man. For State to have improved as much as they did, it still left a lot to be desired. But Lebby needs to learn how to finish. Yeah, finding ways to close out games is big for this team next year. They've got to get that figured out, no doubt about it. So we'll see how that goes. If you get players in the portal like it looks like you're training for, you definitely got an opportunity to get that. Which I shouldn't be rehashing 2025. I was trying to find another show topic to get into. I did not know Jordan Seaton was going to be a thing. But at the same time, I kind of felt like let's put a final cap on the season. maybe at some point we'll do a little bit more looking back on like the players that we felt most stood out. And what do we take away from each position group? We'll find more stuff to get into for sure. But we're mostly moving on. We're mostly moving on. That's going to basically do it for me tonight, unless there's anything that just happened, or unless anybody wants to come and get involved in the chat. But we're going to kind of wind down here. Again, the big news of the night, Jordan Seaton, number 4 player overall in the portal, 98 overall, 5-star transfer, the top-rated offensive tackle prospect, offensive line prospect, is visiting Mississippi State. Out of Colorado, Phil Lodeholt was his O-line coach in 2024. First-round talent at tackle. You are getting him on a visit to Starkville. Can you close the deal and find a way to make it happen that is your guy stepping in to protect the blind side for Kamario Taylor next year? That's what we're looking to find out. And it's huge, though, that you even get him on campus. Overall, offensive line looks like you're starting to figure it out. McVay is a solid pickup. If you don't get Seaton, we'll see what the other spot can be. But State's kind of putting their finishing touches on this portal class. And again, Seaton is the big fish that if you make that happen, it's kind of like we talked about with the high school class. Once you got Braylon Womack, everything else was just kind of like, okay, that's fine. Like you get the 5-star safety in, like this incredible prospect, and all of a sudden everything else felt solid. Oliver, we may need Seaton even more for perception than his play. Honestly, yes. Like, and I'm sorry, I keep scratching my nose. I got an itch there. Getting Jordan Seaton in, like the perception of that for what it means for Mississippi State. I talked about it earlier. You are telling the world Mississippi State is serious about competing at the highest level in football. Because if you're willing to go out and pay $3 to $4 million a year for an offensive lineman, you're willing to compete at the highest level in football. And the fact that you got them on campus is telling you that they're willing to do it. Obviously, it's a matter of who can you seal the deal, and we'll find out. But the perception of this is like you got to be excited if you're a Mississippi State fan and going after a player like that and showing a commitment. Hey, we're trying to make this happen. That gives you some confidence. But of course, if you don't get him, then you still got to figure out the offensive line for next year, right? We can be excited that they're making a move like this and that they're showing a willingness to get in the game, and also be excited for Mississippi State from an infrastructure standpoint. From a 2026 football standpoint, you got to have a left tackle whether you get Jordan Seaton or not. So who is that going to be? We'll find out. And we'll definitely be talking about that more here on Mississippi State Live at the Voice of College Football. Appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in tonight. Those of you in the chats, Finn for joining in on the call. Definitely enjoy the conversation throughout. The call-in shows are kind of fun, just to be a laid back, just chat a little bit. I'm glad we had a big-time topic we were able to get into as well with Jordan Seaton. Like that's great to be able to talk about. Another comment here. 4 was allegedly the initial offer for someone on the on-4 board this morning. Obviously, before news of the visit broke. $4 million, that is. Worth it. Worth it. Can you make it happen? But it's worth it. But yeah, again, I appreciate all of you. If you haven't already, please leave us a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and have those notifications turned on so you do know when we do go live. And as always, swing your sword and Hail State.